Okay, so have you ever needed like a new website or logo designed and you just felt totally lost about where to even start?
Oh, totally. It can feel super overwhelming, like you're suddenly supposed to be fluent in design jargon.
Right, like suddenly I'm supposed to know the difference between serif and sans serif fonts.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this deep dive to break down exactly how to find the perfect designer for your needs.
We're diving into some research on this because it turns out you're not alone in feeling that way.
Not even close.
Yeah.
And it makes total sense. One of the sources we looked at had this quote that I think sums it up perfectly. It said, a lot of times people think, oh, I'll just leave it to the designer, but then they're not happy with the final product. And I think that's what trips so many people up.
It's so true. They jump right into talking to designers without really nailing down their own vision first.
Exactly. It's like walking into a restaurant and just saying, surprise me.
Mm.
You might end up with something you hate.
You've got to have a starting point, right? Like, are you craving Italian or sushi? Same goes for design. Before you even start browsing portfolios, you need to get clear on your own style preferences.
Yeah, like are we going for a sleek, modern vibe, something vintage and handcrafted,
Hmm.
or maybe bold and colorful? You've got to define that first.
Exactly. Think of it like giving the designer a compass, not just a vague destination on a map. And once you have that compass, you can start looking for a designer whose style aligns with yours.
That makes so much sense. So let's say I've done my style homework. I've got my Pinterest board ready to go. What am I actually looking for when I'm scrolling through a designer's portfolio?
All right, so you've got your style mood board ready. Don't just glance at the pretty pictures, really pay attention. Look at the details, the font choices, the colors they use, the overall feeling of their work.
Okay, so like if I'm drawn to minimalist websites, I shouldn't get distracted by someone who specializes in whimsical illustrations.
Exactly. Even if those illustrations are amazing, they might not be the right fit for your project. You really want to look for projects in their portfolio that are similar to what you need. And don't forget about client testimonials.
Oh, those are so important. They give you a sneak peek into what it's actually like to work with that designer.
Right. Are they responsive? Easy to communicate with? Do they meet deadlines? Those are all crucial things to know.
Totally. It's like you're not just hiring their portfolio, you're hiring their whole process.
Exactly. You're bringing them onto your team, so their communication style and work ethic are just as important as their actual design skills.
So then how do we actually find these designers?
Yeah.
Because it feels like there are a million different platforms of websites out there.
It can definitely be overwhelming, yeah.
So many options. How do you even choose?
Right. It's like a double-edged sword.
Hmm.
So much talent at your fingertips, but where do you even begin? That's actually where platforms like Fiverr can be super helpful, especially when you're feeling lost in the sea of freelancers.
Okay, so tell me more about that. How does Fiverr play into all of this?
Well, think about what you really want in a designer. You want someone reliable, right? Someone with like a proven track record who isn't going to disappear mid-project or deliver something totally off base.
Definitely. Been there, done that. It's not fun.
No, it's not. That's where platforms like Fiverr come in. They provide that extra layer of like trust and transparency because you can see how other people have rated their experiences with that designer.
Oh, so it's kind of like choosing a restaurant with a bunch of five-star reviews.
Exactly. Yeah, you know the odds of having a terrible meal are way lower. Those reviews give you insights into their work ethic, communication style, all that good stuff. But remember, no matter where you find your design partner, clear expectations and open communication huge.
So true. So let's talk about expectations. What are some key things to discuss up front to avoid, like design disasters?
Oh, revisions for sure.
Yeah.
Like, how many rounds of revisions are included in the price? What happens if you decide you need a few more tweaks after that? Ironing out those details from the start, it can save you so many headaches later.
Oh, tell me about it. I once assumed unlimited revisions were just a given. Let's just say that it did not end well.
Yeah, it's best to be on the same page about that from day one. And speaking of being on the same page, timelines are crucial.
Right, like when can I expect to see those initial ideas? When will the final design be ready to go?
Exactly. Especially if you're on a tight deadline, you don't want any surprises. And this might seem obvious, but clearly defining what success looks like for this project is so important.
Yeah, that seems pretty straightforward. But what else goes into that conversation?
Well, it's about making sure you and your designer are both crystal clear on the goals. Are you trying to increase brand awareness with a new logo, drive traffic to your website with a redesigned landing page? Having that shared understanding of the why behind the design will make the whole process way smoother.
This is all such good advice. So we've covered clear communication, portfolios, platforms like Fiverr, expectations. Anything else we should be thinking about?
Sure, you're doing great. Honestly, you've touched on the most crucial part of communication. It's easy to get so caught up in the logistics, though, that you forget about the human element.
Right, like remembering that designers are people too, with, feelings and everything.
Exactly. Kindness and respect go a long way. Show your enthusiasm for the project. A little bit of positive energy can make a huge difference in any collaboration. And honestly, that shared excitement often leads to even better design solutions.
I love that. So it's about building a relationship, not just checking boxes on a to-do list. But speaking of relationships, sometimes you can just tell when the vibe is off.
Mhm.
What happens if you get that feeling, even after doing all this prep work?
You're spot on. Sometimes it's just not the right fit. And you know what? That's totally okay.
It's tough though, right? Like if you've already started talking to someone or you've gotten proposals, it feels like you're kind of committed.
Totally get it. It's easy to feel stuck. But remember, finding the right designer, it's an investment in your brand, not just a transaction.
That's a good way to think about it. So, okay, let's say we've done all the things to find our vision,
Yeah.
scoured portfolios, found someone on Fiverr maybe, had
Yeah.
amazing conversations. We're both pumped to get started. Now what?
Now the fun begins. But seriously, even with the most talented designers, you still need to communicate. Things can go sideways fast if you're not on the same page.
So it's not like I just hand off the project and disappear until it's done.
Definitely not. Think of it like building a house, right? You wouldn't just hand the contractor the plans and say, see you in 6 months, good luck.
Huh. That would be a recipe for disaster.
Exactly. You'd want to check in, see how things are going, make sure you're both happy with the progress. Design is the same way. Provide feedback, ask questions, and be open to their suggestions, too.
Because they're the experts at the end of the day.
Right, and it goes both ways. Don't forget to celebrate the successes along the way. Let them know you appreciate their creativity and hard work.
It's about enjoying the process, not just stressing about the end result.
Exactly. The right designer, they won't just make your brand look good, they'll push you to think differently about your business, too. It can be a really inspiring partnership.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I've gone from feeling completely lost to having an actual roadmap for finding and working with my dream designer.
That's what we like to hear.
We've talked about defining our style, navigating portfolios and platforms like Fiverr, setting those crucial expectations, and just remembering that open communication is key throughout the entire journey.
And remember, you've got this. You have the knowledge and tools to approach your next design project with confidence.
So true. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this. Think about a time you were totally blown away by a brand's design. What was it about their style that really resonated with you?
It's amazing what we can learn about our own preferences just by paying attention.
It's so true. Well, on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.
See you then.